The morning I hauled that rusted shell of a 1962 Rolls-Royce Silver Cloud into my driveway, I knew I was in for a project. What I didn't know was that I was also in for a war with the most entitled woman I'd ever meet. My name's Marcus, and I'm a classic car restorer. I work from home, which means my garage is my kingdom, and my driveway occasionally becomes my workshop. I'd found this particular Rolls-Royce in an estate sale 3 hours away, a barn find that had been sitting untouched for 40 years. The body was rough, the interior was destroyed, and the engine hadn't turned over since Reagan was president. But underneath all that neglect, I could see the bones of something magnificent. The flatbed truck lowered the car onto my driveway on a bright Tuesday morning. I stood there admiring it, already mentally cataloging the work ahead, when I heard the sharp click of heels on pavement. Excuse me. Excuse me. I turned to see my neighbor from 2 houses down marching toward me, like a general approaching a battlefield. Linda Crawford, mid-50s, perfectly coiffed blonde hair, designer athleisure, where that probably cost more than most people's monthly rent. She was also the president of our HOA, a position she wielded like a scepter. "Can I help you, Linda?" I asked, keeping my tone neutral. She stopped 5 feet away, her nose wrinkled as if the car emitted a foul odor. "What is that doing in your driveway?" "That is a 1962 Rolls-Royce Silver Cloud, too. I'm restoring it." "You can't keep that eyesore here." Her voice rose with each word. "This is a respectable neighborhood. We have standards." I'd dealt with Linda before. When I painted my front door navy blue instead of the HOA-approved colonial black, she'd sent me 3 violation notices in 1 week. I'd learned to document everything. According to Section 7.3 of the HOA bylaws, I'm allowed to have 1 project vehicle in my driveway for up to 6 months. I checked before I bought it. Her lips pressed into a thin line. "We'll see about that. I'll be reviewing your case at the next board meeting." She turned on her heel and stalked away. I should have known then that this was just the beginning. Over the next 3 weeks, I threw myself into the restoration. I'd work my day job inside, then spend evenings and weekends in my garage and driveway. I stripped the old paint, cataloged every part that needed replacement, and began the painstaking process of bringing the Silver Cloud back to life. The car started attracting attention. My neighbor on the right, old Mr. Peterson, would shuffle over to watch me work, sharing stories about seeing Rolls-Royces in his youth. A couple of teenagers from down the street would stop by on their bikes, fascinated by the transformation. Even the mailman started timing his route to chat about the progress. But Linda was a different story. First came the violation notices, one for unsightly vehicle storage, then one for excessive noise during hours when I'd been at my office job and hadn't even been home, then one for oil stains on my driveway, which were actually water spots from washing the car. I contested every single one, providing photos, receipts, and timestamps. The HOA board, which consisted of Linda and 2 neighbors she'd bullied into submission, begrudgingly dismissed each complaint. Then, about a month into the project, things escalated. I just finished installing a rebuilt engine when Linda appeared in my driveway again. This time, she had her phone out, recording. "I'm documenting this abandoned vehicle," she announced loudly, clearly for the benefit of her video. "It's not abandoned, Linda. I'm literally working on it right now." I gestured to the tools scattered around me, the parts laid out in organized rows. "You haven't moved it in 4 weeks. That constitutes abandonment, according to City Ordinance 12.7. That ordinance applies to public streets, not private property. And I can't move it. It's mid-restoration. That's the whole point." She ignored me, circling the car with her phone. "This decreases all of our property values." My realtor friend said homes near automotive workshops sell for 15% less. This isn't a workshop. It's my personal property on my personal driveway. We'll see what the city says. She smiled, a cold, calculating expression that made my stomach drop, true to her word. 2 days later, a city inspector showed up. He was a tired-looking man named George who seemed deeply annoyed at having his time wasted. Someone reported an abandoned vehicle? He asked, looking at the Rolls-Royce with obvious appreciation. Sir, that's a Silver Cloud. My dad had one of these. Beautiful machines. It's a restoration project. I explained. I've got all the documentation. Title, registration, insurance. George nodded, made a few notes, and took some photos. You're fine. It's clearly being actively restored, not abandoned. Some people just like to cause trouble. He gave me a knowing look before leaving. I thought that would be the end of it. I was wrong. 6 weeks into the restoration, the car was really coming together. I'd finished the bodywork and laid down the first coat of an original two-tone blue and silver paint. The chrome was being replated. I'd rebuilt the transmission and installed new leather in the interior. It was starting to look like the masterpiece it once was. That's when Linda made her boldest move yet. I came home from a parts run one Saturday afternoon to find Linda standing in my driveway, talking to a couple I'd never seen before. They were circling the Rolls-Royce, peering in the windows, taking photos. Can I help you folks? I called out, approaching with my bag of parts. The man turned to me with a confused smile. Are you the owner? We're here to look at the car. Linda said it was for sale. My blood ran cold. What? Linda stepped forward, her expression innocently blank. Oh, Marcus. I was telling the Hendersons about the beautiful restoration next door to me. They're in the market for a classic car, and I thought, you thought you'd try to sell them my car without my permission? The Hendersons looked between us, realization dawning. This isn't for sale? The wife asked. Absolutely not. This is my personal vehicle that I've been restoring for 2 months. But Linda said, Linda doesn't own this car. She has no authority to sell it or show it to anyone. The couple beat a hasty retreat, apologizing profusely. I turned to Linda, my patience finally exhausted. What the hell was that? She crossed her arms. I was doing you a favor. You clearly can't afford to finish this project. You've been working on it for months. The Hendersons would have paid good money. Get off my property. Now! This is HOA property. The driveway easement. The driveway easement allows access for utilities and emergencies, not for you to try to sell my possessions. Leave, or I'm calling the police. For the first time, I saw uncertainty flicker across Linda's face. She opened her mouth, closed it, then turned and walked away. But I knew this wasn't over. Not with Linda. The final confrontation came 3 months into the restoration. I just completed the last detail work. The car was finished. The paint gleamed, the chrome sparkled. The engine purred like a contented cat. It was perfect. I was sitting in the driver's seat, just savoring the moment, when Linda appeared. But this time, she wasn't alone. She had 2 police officers with her.